Welcome into another video. Breaking news out of Buffalo. The Bills are hiring offensive coordinator Joe Brady to be their head coach. 5-year deal, in-house hire. Let's get into it. Initial reactions. This has to be Josh Allen pounding the table for this guy. There's no other way I see this possible, or at least pulling the trigger on it at this point when you have guys like Clint Kubiak still on the market. You know, I understand not going with Dable. It's the past when you have an offensive coordinator who's kind of led your team to success already within your organization, even though Dable has the head coaching experience and probably a better track record than Brady. But ownership just threw this coaching staff under the bus. This coaching staff, like Joe Brady included in that, under the bus a couple weeks ago, or 8-9 days ago, when they talked about Keon Coleman and how Brandon Beane took one for the team in selecting Keon Coleman. Who do you think was a part of that drafting process? You don't think the top offensive mind in the organization wasn't a part of that? No, Joe Brady was probably very much a part of that. He was the highest of the offensive minds in the organization. So that's where you want to go, Joe? Like, you want to be back a part of that, but at the same time, you get to coach Josh Allen. I can't knock him for it. Like, why would you turn this job down? It's your easiest chance of success. You have a roster that was an overtime away from an AFC championship game, and now you get to be the one to see if you can get it over the hump. So I understand that. Like, you kind of have no choice. You've been with the organization for a couple of years. You're taking over this god of quarterback, this really good roster, and you have a chance to make a name for yourself now. You just took over one of the best openings in the NFL. But ownership just threw you under the bus. I don't know. It's a weird thing. Is that I just don't understand the dynamic now with all of this because of how this has kind of transpired over the last week and some change. Like, I think Joe Brady's probably a fine hire. I think that there was some other better offensive minds on the market. You could probably even say Dabble was proven more, has a better track record, but I could understand being a little bit shaky about if he's just going to be a dickhead of a head coach again in Buffalo, if he's going to push away the guys on the roster. Let's talk coordinators, though. Al Harris, defensive backs coach for the Chicago Bears. He's been in a lot of talks for openings of DC in the NFL. I would really like to see Al Harris and Joe Brady together in Buffalo. As a Bears fan, I hope that Al Harris doesn't leave. And I know that Mike McCarthy in Pittsburgh's really after him right now. It's one of his former players. But I do think that this would be a good fit. The two of them, I think that would, if I'm Buffalo, I'm probably pounding the table for Al Harris with Joe Brady. I know that Leslie Frazier is in Seattle, but maybe make a phone call to Leslie Frazier and say, want to come back and be the DC? I mean, he's a guy who's got a lot of experience with this team. I think that's worth a shot. You're going to want somebody who has head coaching experience, maybe. You know, I think about Ben Johnson bringing in Dennis Allen. Maybe look for a defensive mind in that aspect. Leslie Frazier has head coaching experience. Al Harris, I still think, would be a good hire, regardless of his lack of DC and head coach experience. I think Al Harris would be a tremendous hire. But you're probably going to want a mind in there who's been around a lot of teams. I would try and go for an older vet. I don't know. I'm still kind of flabbergasted by this move. I was not expecting Joe Brady to be their head coach. And it's funny because we talk so much about like these situations where it's like they should probably fire this guy within their organization and hire this guy within their organization. Liam Cohen and Todd Bowles kind of ordeal. And they did that. That's exactly what happened. And it's very rare, I feel like, that you see these kind of things. There's something going to happen in Cleveland right now with Jim Schwartz, and after them getting rid of Kevin Stefanski, they're going to promote Jim Schwartz, which would also be insane. Yeah, they did this. We're going to see if it works out. We're going to see if these speculated moves that these very rarely happen work out. I like Joe Brady. I think he was one of my top candidates in last year's cycle. It's just weird that he stays with Buffalo after all that's kind of transpired. I feel like could get a little shaky, could get a little weird. Overall, I give it probably an A- higher. I think if this is what Josh Allen wants, then this is what you go with. We're going to see how it works out. Thank you guys so much for tuning into another video. I'm going to be comparing Super Bowl rosters this week. We're going to go through position by position of the Super Bowl rosters between the Patriots and the Seahawks and seeing who has the better overall roster. Thanks so much for tuning in. Talk to you guys later. Peace.